Hey, this is Ali Siddiq, and you're listening to The Barn.
Hi, and welcome to The Barn, live from The Barn studio. You got the Mox and Chuck here. Chuck, how are you, man?
Awesome now.
We have a special guest online. We have Mr. Ali Siddiq, stand-up comedian, stand-up legend. Ali, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, man. Happy to be on The Barn. What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. Not much. We're happy to have you, and we're happy to have you in town this weekend. You're going to be at the Helium Comedy Club Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, I know a couple shows are sold out and some low tickets on some others. So if you're listening to this and you're in the listening audience, you better get those tickets quick because they're selling up quick. But we're happy to have you in town.
Oh, man, thank you. I'm on the way there. They might as well go get the tickets now because it's going to sell out. We're going to add some shows once they sell out. So if you can't get tickets right away, we will add something for y'all. But St. Louis, I'm ready. Helium, I'm ready. New stories, new life, a bunch of new experiences coming to do it for the loot.
And we appreciate that. No, you're Houston-based. Is that where you're at right now, Houston?
Right in Houston with all of my children. I had to sneak off into our activity room. You know what's crazy? We got an exercise room and don't nobody use it. I just do interviews in it. There's no exercising going on there. The Peloton, we got Peloton, everything. Nothing's being used.
We're going to start tomorrow, though, right?
No, not starting.
Don't even lie to yourself.
It's for my family. They wanted it. You know, when people ask you for stuff, you get it for them, and it's cobwebs. The only time it's used is when I'm in here doing interviews.
It's like the treadmill that gets, like hangers on it. It becomes like sort of the second closet or something. Got all the dust on it.
I'm talking about clothes hanging out. This is what they do. They come and they turn the Peloton on. So I can hear the man talking like they actually worked out, but the pedal's still in the same position.
You're a family man, obviously, and a lot of your comedy, your stand-up comedy, has to do with stories that have happened in your life. Do you have to get permission to talk about some of the things that you talk about, or do you just, people that are in your life, they just know that it's a part of your routine?
No, I just get forgiveness. I don't ask for permission. I just ask for forgiveness. I didn't know that you didn't want me to tell me that. That's my family. They try to, now I come to dinners. They're like, oh, don't do nothing around him because all he gonna do is kill everybody.
Oh no.
But that's how my life goes. My material is interactions with my family, my friends, my community, and those are the things that I talk about because that's what happens to me every day. That's what's happened to me for the whole 49 years of my life. I've interacted with people and something has transpired, whether funny or just interesting. And I think I just like to explore that part of it and see what people were thinking in those moments that they may have been in that position.
You've been on the show, This Is Not Happening, a couple of times. How do you pick what story you're going to tell on there? Because, I would imagine once you tell it on there, you can't, use it in your act anymore.
No, actually, because of how my life is, people always want to rehear the story, because it's nothing make believe. Like I was talking to a comic one day, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm trying to write this bit. Can you help me?" I said, "Man, that's the thing. I don't do bits anymore. I just do my life, and that's why I don't have to remember anything because I'm just telling the truth. So it's nothing for me to remember besides the story. I don't have to write anything down most of the time. I just tell the story like the story went. And it's like any other thing. You have friends that, hey man, tell them about the time that we, that's how I like my stand up to be, and I want people to be engaged with me like that, where they tap their friend like, hey, he about to tell you the story about him and his father. This funny, right? That even though you heard it, you still want to hear the story again.
Right.
So I think that's what's been a blessing with me. I've transitioned into an episode. People just come to see me to see what episode of my life I'm in.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And we recently talked to Dan Cummins, a stand-up comedian, and he sort of likens himself to a storyteller. And I definitely get the feeling that's the same case with you. The funny parts are in there, the jokes are in there, but really you're telling a story.
Yeah, I am the storyteller. I am the storyteller. And what's crazy is You mentioned Dan Cummins. This is a person who I have aspirations on doing shows with. It'd be just me and Dan Cummins. You know, we can mix and match it. Sometimes he'll close it, sometimes I close it. What's the beautiful thing is that we represented by the same person.
Oh, cool.
And I think that at some point it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a Dan Cummins and Ali show, and it's gonna be amazing. And so I'm definitely in support of Dan Cummins.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Here we go.
Yeah, and Dan said he don't have any friends in the business. He's out of his mind. He's got one of the biggest guys in his corner.
I do see some parallels though, now that you mention it, because you're very hands-on with your career. It seems like you put out things independently. You don't rely a whole lot on others. It doesn't seem like. Is that the case?
That is the case. It's like, man, what's weird is I have 7 albums, right? And the 2 that's doing the worst are the ones that's with companies. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's like the 2, I have like 4 or 5 specials, right? The ones that are doing the worst are with companies. Like, I'm like, Domino Effect is by far the best special I've put out to this day, getting ready to drop Domino Effect 2.
Oh, yes.
But the Bigger Than These Bars is a amazing special that Comedy Central did. Comedy Central never really promoted it. Then when we asked to purchase it from them, because we wanted to buy our content back, they put it on YouTube. Then they dropped it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just letting us buy it back, they dropped it on YouTube because of the success of Domino Effect. And now it's doing well. I'm like, y'all could have did that in 2018 when I recorded it. That's what I say. So I tell all the comics, don't rush to the industry. Do something independently yourself first and see the legs that you get from that. And then if you want to dibble dabble with the industry, then do that. I have 4 projects with the industry. These are the worst projects that I've ever done. And everything I've done independent is doing well. Man, I love that show. This Is Not Happening. I love the show.
Yeah.
It was a show created by Ari Shafir and Eric, and it was directed by Eric. I love doing this show. It was the show that catapulted me a little bit into my space where I'm at right now, where people understand that he tells stories, which was a beautiful space instead of me just always having to come do stand up. Now I can actually do what I actually do in front of people and they can see it on TV. So that was a beautiful thing. I love that show.
Who do you feel are some of your contemporaries? Who do you feel that are doing it the right way?
Oh, man. Oh, Joe Rogan, Chappelle. I think that Deion Cole is doing a really good job, even though he has the machine behind. I think he's doing a real good job. I like there's a lot of comics that I love. Marcus D. Wiley, he's doing it really good. Who else? Definitely Dan Cummins, because everybody that's affiliated with my agent is doing it the right way outside of a couple of people. But if you go for big names, I think, man, Ari. Mm-hmm. Ari Shafir is really doing it, and Joey Diaz is doing his own thing. And then I love how Whitney Cummings is doing her thing, and I love it's so many comments I have a admiration, for things. Even I do radio as well, right? Mm-hmm. And I've gotten into these radio guys that I love to hear do their thing. And so with comedy, I'm a fan first of the craft, and then I become a fan of the people who do their thing. Like I love Bill Burr. I love how Bill Burr does his thing. Like it's an amazing thing to me. And the ultimate outside Chappelle, Dave, but you got when Ron White lives a life of comedy that I would love to live. Like he does it how you want to do it. Hey man, and Bert is doing it's insane, man. Joe Coy. It's so many comics out here that's doing it their own independent way. And it's refreshing that you and I say this, it's some comics that are doing it like this because they're in a space of freedom. And then some comics are not doing it because they still searching for how they get recognized. They searching for their legs. So I tell people, don't fret that you're not in somebody else's space yet, because it's a season. And once you get to this space where you can start looking at it independent, you're not looking for the approval of the industry. And most people do that coming in, and then they get independent. I just was independent minded from the beginning, thinking that I needed the industry. And once I figured it out, then it's been this. It's been amazing.
There definitely seems to be a feeling of the artist taking back the control, the comedians taking back the control. And how much do you credit somebody like Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle for leading the way to having so much control of their own career? I mean, those guys seem to like kick down the door for other comedians to be able to come in and be able to do that.
I credit them 10% because I've seen other comics that had that control that just wasn't popular, but they live very, very good lives with control. Don D.C. Curry doesn't move to the beat of nobody's drum. Michael Collier doesn't do it. And I would look at these guys. Arnez J and Bruce were making tons of money on the road, just doing it themselves. And I used to look at them and like, but how can you do that on a bigger scale? And then your Dave Chappelle, because first Chappelle was on, everything was networks this, and then he gained power. And then you have the ultimate power. If people want to ask me, if they ask me the ultimate power, how really people doing it, Steve Harvey and Byron Allen. Byron Allen is the business mode of comedy for me. He owns the Weather Channel. He owns the satellite. He's doing business outside of comedy, even though he's a comic. And then he has Comics Unleashed, which is another branch of what he was doing. It's like comics had always had this power of being able to book themselves and put themselves, but it wasn't on the largest scale like it is now. Now you have people who can come in and do, Steve Harvey can come into and do a Coliseum by himself, Yeah. But the first person I ever even known had that power was Garth Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
When I read about you couldn't book Garth Brooks. He book himself, and I'm like, and then then when you hear comic, the first comic I heard do it, Jeff Foxworthy. I said, whoa, how you get there? How do you control the real narrative? Like, whoa, come on.
Yeah.
And as a comic, I'm not just thinking stand up. I'm thinking retirement. I'm thinking long term. And I put the phrase out there that comics don't retire, we die. You know what I'm saying? Because we can do it for so long.
There's no pension plan.
No, but now it's now comics have pension plans now. Now we starting to get smarter when we setting money to the side and we not falling into the tax where we have tax evasions and all that. You doing better business because you're in a better light and you have more resources and more examples to see it. I think I was the first person. I think I'm the first comic in history never to leave my city and make it from my own city. And I said it from the beginning. I wasn't going to LA. I wasn't going to New York because I didn't think that I didn't think those two places were the only places where stand-up could live. I didn't think that they had the coin on what made people funny. Then I would find out that massive majority of the people that's coming out of those cities are not from those cities.
Yeah.
So they were funny before they got there. They just went to LA, and then LA and New York got the recognition for making them. I'm from Houston. I felt it was okay for me to make it out of Houston because stand up is not a location, it's in you.
Yeah.
Then I didn't think that LA was gonna tag me or New York was gonna tag me. I could go and perform in them places, but stand up is for the world. And that's what I felt like I needed to do. And that's why I've been in Houston. I live in Houston. Everything I've done, they had to either come here to do it with me or fly me there, but I come right back home. And I try to give another example of, hey, this is what you can do when you focus on your career and not trying to be popular. I was focused on the craft of stand-up. It's an art form.
You're talking about you starting in Houston. And I read a story where the first time you did stand up, you came in as a college crowd and you were wearing a suit and then you got booed. How did you know it was the suit's fault? Like if it was me, I'd have been like, God damn, I suck. I'm not doing this shit anymore. How did you know it was the suit?
You know how I knew? You know how I knew it was the suit's fault?
How's that?
Because all I said was hello. I got on stage and said, hey, how y'all doing? And they booed me, sir. Let me tell you something. It was definitely the suit's fault. Because when I got back down to the table, I was at the table with my friend Dre say, hey man, what happened? I said, you saw what happened? You saw what happened? They booed me. And then he asked me, he said, where your jacket at? I said, I left it on stage. They booed the suit jacket off. I didn't even say a joke. It was because I had the wrong thing, because I looked like a preacher to them. I look like a it's like, what is he doing? He has on a suit, y'all. Boo!
Good Lord, man. That's rough.
Did that make you realize that maybe it was the full presentation? It wasn't just the jokes?
I didn't even give that gave me observation.
Yeah.
I said, you know something, I got to be able to read the audience. I waited 2 weeks because I wanted them to forget me. I waited 2 weeks and I came back and I had on a t-shirt, I had on a regular size t-shirt, and I had on some jeans. I looked just like a college student. And I went right on stage and said, hey, how y'all doing? And because I looked like them, they gave me the benefit of the doubt to even listen.
Wow.
And then from that day, go forward 2 months, I became the host of that club.
2 months?
2 months later. Yep.
Wow.
From the first time you did comedy?
Yep. Let me give you the coldest. And people are like, well, that's impossible. I said, well, I give you a real timeline. I got out of prison 1997 of October 21st. That's 1997. I got a job by November. December was the first time I went on stage. So it's about to be 98 now. So I went on stage, got booed. 2 weeks later, I went back. So all through January, I was coming to do the Apollo night. And then all through February, I was coming to do the Apollo night. The owner saw me in February and then told me she wanted me to host along with this guy named Terry Gross, who was the original host. So now we in 98. I take Comic View in 99. It came out it aired in 2000. So in 18 months after getting out of prison, I was on TV.
That's insane.
Doing stand-up. That's how determined I was.
Oh, God, dude.
And that's the true timeline. People will say, well, I saw it's impossible to say that you saw me do anything before October 21st of 1997 because I was in prison until then.
You know what you should have done is when you started hosting, put that fucking suit back on.
It's me,
I
Look at me now,
I came with the
motherfucker.
same suit later. I came with the same suit.
Or put those glasses with the fake nose, like the Groucho Marx. Disguise.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for me when I look back at it. How long I've been. People don't realize I've been doing stand up for almost 25 years now.
Damn,
it's a long time.
I know that's for facts because I started right before my daughter. My oldest daughter is 24.
Is that the only thing you did when you came out of prison? Like, is this the only job you've had?
No, I went to a men's apparel store because I knew I was going to. That's how I got the suit to be on stage the first time. I got the suit for my job, and so I was selling suits at a men's apparel store called Mosa, which was under the Oak Tree branch and Merry-Go-Round and all that company. And then I was also selling shades for Sunglass Hut in a kiosk in the middle of the mall. So I was selling suits and shades. And so that's what I was doing. But I was homing. That was how I homed my stand-up. I would sell you a suit, making you laugh and entertaining you and giving stories. And then I would sell you shades by just talking crazy and drawing people to come over to my booth, you know what I'm saying, while I was selling shades for Sunglass Hut. Wow. And it's weird. And it's weird that I sold 3 pair of Maui Gems because I told this dude that he was cross-eyed. He was gonna have to put some on that eye. I said, hey man, you gonna have to put some on that eye, man. People gonna be looking at that. You want to put something on it. And he said, man, what you think I gotta get? I said, you want it to be polarized or you want it not to be polarized? Because I tried to sell him some Revos, but that was out of his price range. He's like, hey man, let me get these Maui Gems. So about 3 pair of Maui Gems. That's why I know about certain things that people like, hey man, black people don't wear Oakleys. I said it depends on what we're doing. I said Oakleys is certain things that you do with Oakleys and you do with Maui Gems, you do with Revos versus Ray-Bans. Most people just know about Ray-Bans, but I know a lot about a lot of glasses because I worked at a sunglass place. And so that's going to creep into my stand-up. That's going to creep into my life. It's going to creep into how I do things and details that I say about stories. I think that most people like listening to me because it's in the details. And the truth of it is always in the details. Because I'll be telling the story and I say, yeah, he put his Maui Gems in a Revo case, which it can't fit I'm this the reason why I'm telling people this part of the story, because everything he's doing doesn't fit. Even his shades, he's putting his shades in a glass case that it doesn't belong in. And this is the part of the story, like, yeah, this got to be true, because why would he even say that part? Who would lie and make a part about a sunglass case?
Right. Ollie, we know your time's limited, but we appreciate it today. We're going to be catching you at the Helium Comedy Club Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows. You better get your tickets early because they are going quick. The barn will be in the building. We can't wait to meet you and hang out, man.
Oh, this is going to be beautiful. I'm coming with myself. Marcus D. Wiley is coming along with me, which is another actually headliner that's featured me. Yeah. And then I got a headliner that's hosting that's from St. Louis. Oh, yeah. That's from there. Willie Lynch Jr. You know what I'm saying? And he's phenomenal. So it's going to be a wonderful time in St. Louis. I'm coming to get some barbecue and have some fun out there. Man, St. Louis, see you at Helium, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And big up to the barn for having me on.